At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right, welcome everybody. Dangerous up here in Northwest Arkansas. Ice on the roads. Wasn't entirely sure when we could do this live, but here we are. We're able to get it going at 11. So let's start things off. 3, 2, 1. Yo! Very cold Monday. Get this microphone all set up here. Hope you guys are doing swell. I know the weekend was a little bit sour, especially if you're a 49ers fan. Ooh, or a Bengals fan. I'm not gonna lie, I could care less about the Super Bowl. I'm gonna root for the Eagles just because Patrick Mahomes' family is really annoying. And I'd like to see the Eagles. I'd like to see Philadelphia take home a ring. Why not? It's been a minute for them. But I just don't care about the Super Bowl. It's boring. Like, Chiefs. Ugh, who cares? I know we got KC fans in the audience, and congrats to you. I know the feeling. I get it. It's amazing. I don't know. I kind of wanted to see a maybe Bengals 49ers, because of Brandon Allen and, of course, Dre Greenlaw. Or maybe some teams, going into the playoffs. I would have loved for just teams that you wouldn't have expected, but it's no surprise with KC in there. It's no surprise at all. They're a really good team. So it's just, I don't know, whatever. All right. Remember to like, share, subscribe. I have no idea what the live viewer audience is going to be like today. I mean, the weather's crazy. I told you guys I told you in Discord. I told you on YouTube. Wow. It's coming down. I can hear the sleet hitting the window. Dang. It just hit us right as we're going live. But I told you guys the streams this week are going to be a little wonky, and they're going to be. I'm surprised I was able to get this one going. My wife stayed home, so she's going to deal with the kids, dealing with all their at-home work. We got all sorts of stuff going on. Man, that is really coming down. So let's hope that this live stream doesn't get cut off, or that we could lose power. I don't know. Nothing would surprise me anymore. So I'm going to get this thing going. No, we cannot. And I mean, cannot lose at home to the Aggies at all. No. Yeah. So we have a poll up. Do the Hogs still have a chance at getting to tournament? Sorry, I typed this thing out quick. Getting to tournament with a loss to A&M tomorrow. So far, it's 50-50. So if you're in here, I mean, there's not a lot of people in here at the moment, but if you guys haven't already taken the poll, it's there for you. Yo, what's up, Scott? How you doing, man? Love the beanie tie. You like that? I've had this one for a minute, as you can see. I had another Cardinal beanie years ago. It was my favorite. I don't like these with the lip. I don't like that. I don't like that. I like just the, and I had one that just had a cardinal on it, but I lost it shortly after purchasing in St. Louis back in 2006. Shout out to Patreon supporters. Appreciate you guys. I'm telling you, especially with YouTube ad revenue, YouTube ad revenue right now is just a disaster. I'm not even going to lie about it. They're really hitting me in the nuts. NSFW, by the way. NSFW, not safe for work, for those of you who are trying to listen to this while on the job. But Patreon and of course Super Chats you guys are really making up for where YouTube is AdSense revenue is failing. Shout out, of course, and I'm damn sure not able to do this without direct service overhead. The Garage Door Companies, they offer same-day services, emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Apex Tattoo Studio, they moved locations. They're now located at 201 South 19th Street. Suite P in Rogers, Arkansas. Walk-ins are welcome. They're offering tap out sessions. If you mention Tuss Talk with Ty, they'll give you a 10% discount. And, of course, last but not least, the Odd Soul, located on Emma Street here in downtown Springdale. Odd Soul, craft bar, pizzeria, and pizzeria. If they don't have it on tap, nobody else does, guaranteed. Their local IPAs are fantastic. Their pies are great. I've never had a bad slice. I've never had a bad slice of pie at the Odd Soul, and they've got all kinds of stuff on tap. Pretty cool. So, Aaron Harbison with a super chat. Everyone stay safe with this weather. Yeah, it's coming down, man. Like, damn. I feel like we might have to cut this show. I don't know how long this show's going to go on for. I had originally planned to go live at noon, but I realized I had a moment. Don't get me wrong. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to have to go help out with the homework. You know how they are now. They send these kids home. They either do AMI or they do these, like, packets. And my youngest daughter, who's in second grade, her packet's like that thick. It takes a little while, and she absolutely hates doing homework. So that's what I get to dive into after this. Let's get this thing going. How about, first off, pull up all the notes here that I have typed out. Former Razorback Dre Greenlaw had himself a season for the 49ers. Postseason, he led the Niners, 26 tackles, 2 TFLs, and 2 pass breakups. Of course, unfortunately, his season has come to an end. In the regular season, he was second on the team in tackles with 127, 3 TFLs, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception. Bonus, had Tom Brady sign the ball that he picked off of him. I mean, that's one for the books, man. He better hang on to that football, and you know he will. It's the ball that you picked off of arguably the greatest quarterback. I don't care. I'm a Ram fan. I have as much right to hate that guy more than anyone. We were his first Super Bowl victims back in 2001. I hated the Patriots and Tom Brady, but let's just be honest. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. I hate saying that, okay? He is. Dre Greenlaw picked him off and then had him sign the ball after the game. That's like a boss move, man. I tagged Dr. Disrespect. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's hilarious. I watch his shorts. I don't watch his live streams, but I watch the shorts that he posts on YouTube, and they're hilarious. He's just a very his name is Dr. Disrespect. He's a big Niners fan, huge Niners fan. So I tagged him on Twitter, seeing if I could get a response out of him. But that was a boss move. Something that I would think Dr. Disrespect would appreciate. But Dre Greenlaw had an outstanding season for the Niners. Pro Football Focus thinks the same. His defensive grade was 79.6. By the way, that's pretty good, the NFL. His run defense grade was 78, and his coverage grade is through the roof at almost 83. That's pretty damn high. Lined up in the box 895 times for the Niners. Good grief. And he's a great cover linebacker. He is. And they have his size. I always thought he was a little shorter than what Arkansas had him listed at. They have him at 6 foot, 230 pounds. Remember, he was a 5th round draft pick for the Niners, top 150 selection, number 148. And look at the production they're getting out of Dre Greenlaw. I mean, he's just been terrific in the NFL. What's up, Ty? Streaming at work. All right, man. I appreciate that. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Ty, we will make the tournament if we have a winning conference record, says Charles Harper. Okay. Fair enough. Greenlaw was working the speed bag in the offseason. He was the man. He was the man. I mean, he was great. I watched him play. During the regular season. I caught him play a little bit during the regular season. He's all over the field. Fantastic NFL linebacker. Fantastic. Hang on just a second. We got the retweets. Austin with the retweet. I appreciate that, man. I do appreciate you. No Haas today. That's rare. Haas didn't retweet on the Twitters. That's all right. Trying to pull up. I do appreciate it. I appreciate it too when you guys tag me on the retweets. This year. Boy, oh boy. Are you guys caught up on The Last of Us? We're going to talk about that later too, by the way. I want to talk about The Last of Us. I don't know, man. I'm really like, especially with all these winter days and ice days and with all the craziness going on, like I've actually found it a little bit easier to watch television shows. My wife and I, like, some good television. There's some good television on right now. Of course, you've got 1923, which comes back on February 5th. We're watching The Offer on Paramount Plus. Listen, I haven't watched. It's all based around how they made The Godfather and all the drama they had to deal with politicians. Shocker, I know. With the mob. It's crazy. Some of the acting's a little, like Miles Teller's kind of. And I like Miles Teller. If you've never seen Whiplash, that's one of my favorite movies of the 2000s. Incredible. And this, he's just so, I don't know, deadpan. It's a good show. Highly recommend you guys watching on Paramount Plus The Offer. It's really good. I haven't seen The Godfather in over 20 years, and it's making me want to go back and watch it. I love that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Greenlaw was all over the field last night. Yeah, I think he led both teams in tackles again. He did that multiple times during the regular season where he led both teams in tackles. Do the Hogs still have a chance getting to the tournament with a loss to A&M tomorrow? 53% of you say yes. I'm really shocked by that. Okay, once again, I'm using the wrong word. I'm not shocked. I'm a little bit surprised. You guys have them at 53%. You still think that if they lose tomorrow, I'm going to have to disagree. Listen, anything can happen. We'll get to that in a minute. But we still got a ways to go. And, yeah, a loss doesn't cement you from going. But my God, when you look at what they have left on the schedule, they still got a couple of tough games to close the year out. Actually, they've got 3 tough games to close the year out. I'm having a hard time seeing it, man. I feel like tomorrow and at South Carolina too. I mean, you could beat A&M and then completely erase what you did and lose to South Carolina. Let's skip back over to former Hogs, though. Treylon Burks finished 7th in the NFL in big play percentage. This coming from Titans Wire, who always seem to have good. I go to Titans Wire. I feel like I've read a lot of their content. We've talked about some of the stuff they've posted about Treylon. But this is from Sean Calderon, who says it's no secret that Tennessee Titans wide receiver Burks had a roller coaster of a year in the NFL, a rookie year. When he was on the field, he was a major asset to the team and arguably one of the most important players on offense. Unfortunately, getting him on the field was half the battle at times. The Arkansas product only played in a total of 11 games, 2 of which he left early. Despite the constant adversity, Burks still produced at a relatively high level this season. According to Pro Football Focus, Tennessee's first-round receiver had the highest run-blocking grade by a rookie wide receiver, almost 76. And that's high. That's really high for a wide receiver. Of course, that shouldn't come as a surprise. And if that's part of the reason what makes Burks such a fantastic fit at Tennessee when you consider who their running back is, when you consider their play calling, when you consider it is the most Brett Bielema-like offense in the NFL. I mean, it is 10 yards in a cloud of dust. We're going to run the ball. We're going to utilize our run game, and that's what makes Burks such a great fit. And, of course, he has a really high run blocking grade. I've been saying to y'all, that is part of what makes Kendall Briles' offense so appealing to, I think, wide receivers, or at least that's got to be your pitch, is, we're probably going to run the ball a lot, but that's something the NFL looks at. They like receivers that block downfield, even in offenses that pass the ball a lot. They love wide receivers. In a legal matter, love it when receivers are blocking downfield. Of course, you don't have Kendall Briles anymore, so I don't know if that's going to be – I mean, we know when Dan Enos was here before that, receivers still had to block downfield. There's not an offense where they don't. There's not an offense really. I mean, it's become such a bigger part of the game, which is strange considering how much more, how much more offenses still throw the football, right? And yet they're blocking. It's become such a big part of why you look into drafting some of these guys is if they can block at a high level downfield, then it's going to come up on their radar. I'm not saying that because you block downfield, you're a lock to be a first-round draft pick. No, certainly doesn't hurt. He also finished with the sixth highest overall grade. I guess this is among rookies. He didn't really 74.1, which is, again, when you consider he only played in 11 games, he left 2 of them early. And then seventh highest receiving grade at 73.9. So as a receiver, we didn't see enough of him. I put a lot of that on hurt quarterback in their offense. They just don't it didn't feel like they even tried to shoehorn Treylon Burks into their offense when it came to the passing game. I felt like he was so massively underutilized. Tennessee Titans fans have come around to that idea too as well, looking at some of their comments on Twitter. They just felt like he was underutilized. He's got to be a bigger part of their offense next year. It's a good fit for Tennessee. It's not. I don't know that it is such a great fit for Treylon Burks. When you're being excluded out of the passing game like he was, I don't know how many times I watched, and he's running wide open, whether it's preseason or regular season. He's running wide open over the middle of the field. They don't throw him the ball. I don't understand why he's so underutilized in Tennessee. I don't get it. Another area where Burks excelled was his ability to produce a momentum-altering big play for the Tennessee Titans offense. That surely needed all the help that it could get. So Treylon Burks, among all big plays, he was 7th in the NFL at 17% on big play percentage. 7th in the NFL. I'm telling you, they're gonna have to really pump up their usage on him. Time having a baby girl. Hey, congrats, Wyatt. Expected to be birthed. Well, I'm not sure I've ever to be birthed in a week or less. Congrats, man. Any tips on being a dad to some daughters? Yeah, man. Better snaggy some 5-hour energy drinks. Better get you some of these. I've been drinking these Primes. They're like no sugar. They're supposed to be a better alternative to Red Bull. You better grab you some Primes. Better get good at dealing with diapers, my friend. It's gonna be wild for you. Your life's about to change if you're a new dad, Wyatt. Expected to be birthed. I don't know that I've ever heard it put that way, but that is accurate. Yes. Congrats, man. That's awesome. Congrats. All right. Get this reloaded here. Burks is a stud, says Philip. Yeah, he is. Speaking of grabbing stuff, better go get that Dr. Perry strawberry. Yeah, but they don't have it here. I've not seen the strawberry Dr. Peppers, Austin. I told you that in Discord, man. We don't have them. If we had them, I would totally get one. I love strawberries. I love them. I love strawberry flavored anything. My favorite limeade at Sonic is the strawberry limeade. It is terrific. We're going to talk about Drew Sanders here since we're still on the topic of the NFL. There's not a lot going on. I'm still thinking about, I don't know how the offseason, how I'm going to structure these lives. I may do less lives and more edited content, assuming I can get my hands on a new computer. It just takes too long for this computer it just takes too long. When I'm making videos, it takes forever. It's too slow. That's why I stopped making edited content. Like a 10-minute video took 15 minutes that's insane. So I've got something going on with this computer. I'm surprised it hasn't just completely shit the bed. But I'm probably going to upload more shorts. I know I'm going to upload more shorts, more edited content. The live shows are going to they're definitely going to become less. But the shorts are going to come back, or they're going to return. I did a couple here, and then we're going to do some edited content throughout the off season. So yeah, the lives are going to come down. They're going to come down probably depending on how Razorback baseball goes. If it's a shit season, I'm probably going to start reducing the amount of live shows. I may come down to one show a week. I haven't made up my mind yet. We know the offseason's brutal. That's why I tip my cap to these radio people. I really don't know how they do it. 3 hours a day to put together a show. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some that are really good at it. Like I always tip my cap to Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft in the mornings. Josh Bernaccini, even though he sometimes talks about shit that no one cares about, I'm sorry. I don't. He goes so deep into the NBA and the NFL sometimes. I'm like, man, all right, come on. He brings on like analysts who cover the Knicks or some shit. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I love Josh Bernaccini. I met him in person a couple of times. He's a good dude. I mean, from what I've met, from what he was nice to me. I'll say that. But you got a 3-hour show to put together, and I respect these guys, man. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. YouTube is different because you're dealing with a live chat. You got to have subject matter, and if you don't have it, then I'm just sitting here staring at a screen having a conversation with chat, and which is fine. But you got to have. There's got to be some meat on the bone, right? And the meat are the topics, and then the topics have to revolve around the Razorbacks, and we don't have a lot of that, But I will. I mean, I'm probably the lives are going to be reduced. I mean, they always do. That's kind of how it's always been done here for the last 2-3 years. The off season, the live shows just kind of drop. I'm excited. Congrats, Wyatt. I'm happy for you, brother. Drew Sanders to my Chargers. Nope. I mean, not according to CBS. CBS, once again, has Drew Sanders in the first round. This is a different writer. Last week, I don't even remember who the writer was, but it wasn't this cat. Someone else. They had him at, what was it, 13th or 14th? This is Ryan Wilson. I don't think this was Ryan Wilson last week. I don't believe it was Ryan Wilson that was last week with CBS. I could be wrong. Ryan Wilson has Drew Sanders in the first round. If you've been paying attention, like Mel Kiper's completely dropped Drew Sanders from the first round. I don't know where he has him. I know at one point in time he had him as a top 5 defensive player. I think earlier in the season he had him as a big time prospect. And for whatever reason, despite the fact that Drew Sanders was so wildly productive for Arkansas, Mel Kiper completely dropped him out of the first round. CBS today, when did they post this, actually? Was this yesterday? Let's look. Let's take a look. Oh, it was earlier this morning. Okay, almost 5 hours ago. But they have him going to the Broncos. Very late. 30th overall pick. I mean, that is the bottom of the first round. He says Drew Sanders is a former 5-star who transferred from Alabama after the 2021 season. And all he's done is show out for the Razorbacks. He was an edge rusher for the Crimson Tide, but he lines up all over the defense for Arkansas and has been a one-man wrecking crew when he's on the field. Yeah, it's a big difference when he wasn't on the field. You saw it in the Kansas game. Of course, you didn't have bumper pull either. You're really banged up and missing pieces for that game, and still beat KU, who did not have near the departures that Arkansas had. Not near the departures. And Arkansas still won that game. Should have won it earlier. The game should never have gone into overtime, but whatever. We're over that. Arkansas won. That's all that matters. But Drew Sanders, who was big time for the Razorbacks this year, we know all about that. He was a huge piece for Arkansas, and you could definitely tell when he was absent, if he wasn't on the field, which wasn't often, but if he wasn't on the field, or if he wasn't rushing the quarterback, I would argue that when he wasn't when he wasn't lining up outside on the edge or wasn't blitzing out of the linebacker spot, it seemed like nobody could get pressure unless it was Jordan Dominic in non-conference play. Jordan Dominic was all over it. But Drew Sanders led the way this year, 103 tackles, 10 sacks, 5 pass breakups, an interception, 3 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. I don't know. You look at these numbers alone and you think, okay, that ought to be pretty good. I mean, 103 is not on the high side in terms of tackles, but we also have to remember he lined up as an edge rusher a lot, or he was sent after the quarterback a lot, and that's going to take away tackles, right? You're sacrificing tackles for pass rush, and he ended up with 10 sacks this year. Probably one of the most productive pass rushers Arkansas has had since maybe Trey Flowers. I don't know. You guys tell me. Am I missing someone? I mean, he was fantastic. I don't know that he's going to get drafted in the first round. I'll say this much. he feels like a guy that absolutely will make a 53-man roster in the NFL and will absolutely be a guy that someone's going to be excited about getting. I mean, he had a fantastic career. We're not talking about ACC, Big 12, Pac football. We're talking about SEC. This cat had some production, right? Again, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, an interception, 5 pass breakups, decent cover, at least at this level, decent cover linebacker, and he could rush quarterback. Was okay against the run. He was really good against the run. Bumper Pull at full health was really good against the run. Was not fully healthy this year. I kind of wonder if Bumper Pull had been 100% healthy, had Jalen Catalon played this year, more games, let's just say maybe triple the amount of games he played this year. I kind of feel like Arkansas would have won. I think they would have been in that 8-win category. I really do. I think that makes quite a bit of difference. Jalen Catalon and Bumper Pull are difference makers. Well, Bumper Pull's a playmaker. Jalen Catalon is a difference maker. And, of course, he's going to take his talents on to Texas. Oh, God. Almost saying that just too bad. Anyways. Yeah, so Drew Sanders, does he go to the first round? That's going to be a question. I could go on and on about how big that really could be. Oh, hang on, we got a lot of a lot of people with under review comments there. Any restaurant with touchscreen machines have the strawberry Dr. Pepper options. Okay, well, I could tell you in a 10-mile radius, there's only one place that has one of those machines, and that's Firehouse Subs on Joyce in Fayetteville. I am not going to be driving to Fayetteville today. Hate to break it to you. Screw the Chiefs and the Raiders, says Grant. This is Grant. Drew Sanders to that NFL team. Okay. Definitely take him in Green Bay. When was the last time we had a back-to-back years for first rounder? Well, that's a good question. Was that the year Matt Jones, and didn't the year before or the year after Arkansas had a first-round draft pick after Matt? I cannot remember. I hadn't looked that up. I'm going to look that up, and I'll get back to you. It was Houston Nutt had back-to-back years with first-rounders. I just can't remember who they were. I think it was Matt Jones. And then, like the year before, maybe Ahmad Carroll. Was that right? I don't know. One of you history buffs in chat will have to remind me. Jamal Anderson. Maybe that was it. Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Matt Jones, and then the next year, maybe it was Jamal. It was something like that. I think it was Matt Jones, and either the year before or the year after they had a first-round draft pick. Hook and ladder, best sub of all time. Oh my God. The hook and ladder is like 10% of the reason why I'm fat. It's so good. Sean Andrews. Maybe that's what it was. It's one of those guys. Sean Andrews, Matt Jones. I think that's right. It was somebody, but yeah. What else do we have here? We talked about our mock draft, Drew Sanders. We got Arkansas and A&M coming up. That's going to be the next part of this show. I felt like I was going somewhere a minute ago, and I got thrown off by the first-round draft question by Austin. Damn you, Austin. What was I talking about? Talking about why. Okay, Drew Sanders. And why this could be big for Arkansas if he does get taken in the first round. Number one, yeah, it's going to show that Sam Pittman is able to produce first-round prospects. That's huge. That is absolutely huge if this can happen, because that is something you're going to take on the recruiting trail. That's something you're going to take on the recruiting trail. That's something when you contact these guys in the portal, when you're going after these kids at the high school level, especially, I mean, both, right? Treylon Burks was homegrown. Treylon Burks was here for 3 years, went to the pros. Drew Sanders was a transfer portal grab. You're going to be able to say, look, not only can we develop you out of high school to be in the situation that Treylon Burks was. Yeah, the kids aren't idiots. They know that Treylon Burks was just loaded with talent. You could absolutely argue that, you know, he was going to get drafted in the first round unless Chad Morris was here. I think Chad Morris definitely would have fumbled that one. Of course he would have. But Sam Pittman is showing that he can produce first-round talent. This was the question that we had when they hired Sam Pittman. You'll sense the turnaround to a degree if he can consistently produce top 3 round draft picks, and not just a couple of third rounders in a couple of years in a row. Like, looking at it through first and second and third rounds, those are really important rounds. And yeah, it's always flashy when you could talk about having a first round draft prospect. But imagine having Treylon Burks, who's homegrown, who picked Arkansas over Clemson. Of course, that wasn't Sam's doing, but still, he stuck around after Sam, and Sam got him for a couple of years. They developed him into a first-round prospect. I mean, guys, there's raw 5-star, 4-star talent that, get misused all the time. There's some high, big-time you see him get drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. You look at their high school recruiting ranking. You're like, what the hell happened to this guy? Happens to 5-stars all the time. Just because you're a highly ranked 4-star, just because you're a freak of nature, which I put Treylon Burks in that category. He may not be a Matt Jones freak of nature in terms of just his athleticism and what Matt Jones was as a player, but Treylon Burks is a freak of nature, incredibly difficult to cover, big hands, not as big as we thought, but big hands, big body, great in yards after catch, was great on 50-50 jump balls. I can go all kinds of reasons. I can go all over the place about why he's a freak of nature type player. When you talk about someone that size, 6'2", 6'3", 200 and almost 30 pounds, he didn't run the 40 we thought he would run, but still 4.52 or whatever it was is pretty great. He was just a freak, man, just a great player. Could excel at any position you put him in. Talked to people who watched him play in high school who said he was as good of a linebacker as he was a wide receiver, and that's saying a lot. I mean, from linebacker to wide receiver, what the hell just happened? But going back to Sam, it's important. I think it's he's licking his chops if they get yet another first round draft prospect, because it doesn't happen very often at a school like Arkansas. It just doesn't. They don't have a lot of back to back years with first round prospects. You probably count on one hand. You probably count on one hand the amount of times that's happened in my 40 years of living. Does not happen often. And I'm talking about back-to-back, not just first-round picks, back-to-back years of first-round draft prospects. It's a nice sell, and it's also a big sell. I mean, maybe they still go after a linebacker in the portal. Maybe they're still looking around. Maybe they're not completely satisfied with what they got out of the portal, and you're going to be able to sell that. Now, unfortunately, Barry Odom is not here. I say unfortunately. I'm talking about, the guy that's responsible for the career that Sanders, or for the year that Sanders had, is not here. Michael Schur is not here, but it still happened under Sam Pittman's watch. So it's always a reflection of the head coach, and that's something that could be big for Arkansas if they're able to do it. It's being able to use that as a pitch to say, hey, look, we're able to get you in the first round. We're able to do that. We're going to facilitate that. We're going to help you get there. We have the tools. We have the facilities. We have the coaches in place. I've done it before. We're going to do it again. Back-to-back is huge. Back-to-back is huge. It's not easy for schools like Arkansas to do that. And then you kind of look ahead to next year. Do they have a first-round draft prospect on their roster for next year? Who knows? Who knows, man? I mean, if Rocket has the kind of year and, builds off the kind of year that he had in 2022, if he's able to build off of it, let's say he becomes a bigger part in the passing game, improves his pass blocking, and tears it up in the league. Maybe he leads the league in multiple categories outside of rushing yards. He's got to rack up some tutties. He's got to be a bigger part of the offense. I hope we don't see any more of him just going absent in the third quarter like we saw all the time with Kendall Briles. And I don't know if that was a KB thing or a Sam Pittman thing, but he needs to be – when he was on fire, I never understood why they just pulled him off the field and we didn't see him for the next 2 or 3 series. Or maybe you'd see him a little bit. He was sprinkled in there just a little bit, but then he was off to the sidelines. How much of that is coaching? How much of that is him tapping his helmet and saying he needs to go to the sidelines? I don't know. But he needs to be a bigger part of the offense next year, and he can be. And I think with someone like Dan Enos, I feel like if there's anybody who could get him there with his reputation, what he did with the run game in 2015, 2016, why not? And he had a fantastic year. I mean, if Rocket is not a first or second team all-conference running back, there's something really wrong with the system. Of course, we already know that anyways. Matt Jones, 21st overall in 05. Yep, he was 6 foot. What was his combine? What was his combine numbers or his size? Wasn't it 6'6", 240? 6'6", 242 and ran a 4.37 40. That's insane. No, you don't see very many running backs taking the first round. You don't. But he has to have an extraordinary season. And if there was anybody that was on that list for Arkansas as far as potential, I think Rocket has it in him to be a late first-round draft prospect. Absolutely, I do. I think he's special. I really think Rocket's going to go down. I think he's going to be in that category when you talk about elite running backs at Arkansas, Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Hillis, but for a different reason, right? I mean, you still put Hillis in that list, even though he didn't have the kind of production that maybe those two had, but he was such a huge part of the offense, especially when he was healthy. Alex Collins, right? He's going to be on that list. Arkansas's had 1,000-yard rushers, 1,200, 1,300-yard rushers. I think had Rocket been used more efficiently this year, I think he would have broke 1,500 yards. In fact, I think he probably would have been closer to 1,700 yards and then become an even bigger part. And he was a big part of the passing game this year. Let's not act like he wasn't, but imagine if they expand that role a little bit. And that might mean you see less of Dubinion and A.J. Green. I don't know. But I think if there were anybody – and again, I'm not saying he is. I'll be honest with you. At first glance, he's probably a fourth-round pick. But if you make him a bigger part of the offense, let him really show off his skills as a runner, his ability, his acceleration, his burst, his vision, outstanding running back. And again, I think he's going to end up being one of the he's going to end up being one of those names. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to be a bigger part of the offense. No more of this disappearing act in the third quarter. But yeah, Mike, no, you're not wrong. You don't see very many running backs. It used to be 2 or 3 in the first round, year in and year out. Now it's like 1, sometimes none. I mean, pretty sure. I don't remember the last couple of drafts that well. But it's not very often. Trying to keep Dubinion at the hill. I mean, you also have to remember, you know, it's not unheard of, like the kind of distribution between the running backs this year. I get wanting to feed Dubinion and trying to keep him happy. Same with A.J. Green. The portal opens back up in May. It would not shock me if one of those two hits the portal. Wouldn't shock me at all. I get that point. You want to keep those guys happy. I completely understand that, but I think you cannot bench a guy. You can't have him riding the pine or standing on the sidelines after he's had a couple 8, 9, 10, 12-yard runs, after he's starting to get hot, after he's had, 100 and however many yards on just 12 carries, and then he rides the pine. Can't do that, man. You don't heat check him. You keep him on the field. Texas running back is expected to be a first round. I think there's 1, maybe 2 running backs in this draft, and it's the running back out of Texas that's expected to be taken in the first round. Hardest lesson for me to learn as a Hog fan: we are not Georgia or Bama. I hope we see more 2-back sets this year, even 3-back sets. I don't know about all that. The freshman coming in would replace Dubinion or Green, wouldn't he? Probably. He's good. I almost want to say Augustave, as I love to say. 4-star out of Florida. I think he has the potential. Now, unfortunately, he's walking into a situation where he's probably going to have to get redshirted. Unless both these cats transfer. If one of them transfer, he won't redshirt. If none of them transfer, he's going to redshirt. But I hate to put this on him. I really think Augustave, or maybe it's Augustive, but I like saying Augustave. It just rolls off it just sounds so awesome. I really think that could be an Alex Collins type get. I mean, I mean that. That dude is special. He puts a big smile on my face, man. When I watch his video. Sorry, you guys know I hate that word film. When I watch his YouTube video highlights and what's out there, what you can find, he's fun to watch, man. He could be big. I think that was, and one of the reasons why they got him, they told him early on, and this is coming from two really good sources, you are it in this class. You're going to be it. This offense is going to be about you. This offense, you're going to play a huge part. Of course, a little bit's changed, right? You don't have Kendall. You have Dan. It would work. Yeah, you don't see very many three-back sets, Austin. Dominion is going to be really good. 4-star. Yeah, no. Like I said, Dominion's awesome. Dominion's great. They're loaded at running back, man. I mean, but that is par of the course for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Huddle. What about Huddle, Phillip? From what I've seen in Maryland tape, she uses a lot of different running back sets. Yeah, he does. I don't know that I saw any 3 running back sets. Augustai. Augustave. I'm going to say it my way, man. I'm going to say it my way. I don't care about your way. I'm going to say it my way. Now, until he comes out and corrects everybody, then I'll say it the way he says. Ty likes to watch film with his sources. 2 words I absolutely hate: film and sources. Has DMAX speed. Ooh, I don't know about all that. I don't know if he's running a 4.3 240. He's quick. I don't know if that might be a bit much, but he's going to be good, man. I like him a lot. He puts a big smile on my face. He had some legit P5 offers. Some schools really wanted that cat. Arkansas got one out of Florida. Uses his tight ends. Yeah, he uses tight ends. He had a Mackey Award winner in 2015 at Arkansas. You can cringe all you want, Paul. I don't really care. I'm going to say it the way I want to say it, bro. He's a 4.3 all day, I'm telling you. I don't know. You know more than I do if you're saying he runs a 4.3 flat, but he is quick. He is fast. He is very fast. He's a quick back, good vision. He just kind of has the it factor, man. When you watch him play, he just has it. I think he's going to be great. They're solid. And with the running backs they have, they are absolutely solid. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Again, I'm not saying he's not lightning quick. I just don't know about 4.3 flat. That's not I have a hard time seeing that dude leaving Florida with a 4.3 flat. He's quick, but again, I don't know about 4. What does 2.47? Do they have his 40 time? I haven't looked in a while. Let's look just a second before we transition to basketball. Isaiah Augustave, because apparently they have his 100 meters 11:01. His 100 meter is 11:01. Gabe Brooks. Tall with slightly plus length. Lean, athletic build with good muscle. He could pack on the pounds. Multi-sport profile. Blah 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 blah. Flashes top end to hit the long ball. Averages 8.7 yards per carry as a junior. Further reflect big play juice. Gabe Brooks out here talking about big play juice, baby. Give me some of that Gatorade. Best when hitting north-south alleys, bursting out of one-cut opportunities, enough wiggle to make first man miss the hole or elude an open field tackler in space, above average contact balance, but upright gait and height create higher center of gravity, gets bounce happy, comes from an old-school run-heavy offense. Yeah, heard that about where he came from. Sometimes plays at one speed. Very intriguing running back prospect with promising size, speed combination that suggests high developmental ceiling. Projects as a Power 5 multi-year starter with tools to play beyond college. It doesn't mention anything about 4.3 speed. So, I don't know about that. Listen, if he does, he does. I don't know about 4.3. That is insanely fast that a very small percentage of players hit. I mean, you can talk about college or pro. That's a very small amount of players that do that. If he does, I'm not saying he doesn't. From what I've seen, I wouldn't guess 4.3 flat, but he is quick. And he's got really good bursts after he's got the ball in his hands. He looks a little jukey when you watch him. He looks a little jukey, a little bit, but sees the hole, takes the hole, man. Just a good player. Yeah, I've watched his huddle videos several times. I like him a lot. Sounds like Eddie George with more speed. They have him listed over on 247 at 6'2", 195. Yeah, he's got the frame. He's got the frame to put on some weight. I could totally see him by the time he left. Wherever he leaves college, I could see Isaiah, 215, 220. He's got the frame to do it. Maybe he doesn't want to pack on the weight. He might just want to hover around 200 pounds. Sometimes when you pack on that weight, you sacrifice a little bit of speed. You sacrifice a little bit of speed, but you make up for it in bulk and power. But, yeah, good get for Jimmy Smith for sure. Did you see Centennial tweet he was starting an NIL with U of A? I did not. No. Did not. Yeah. All right. Talking about the Arkansas and A&M game. I'm not going to go on for this. We're already at 49 minutes. This is a must-win game if there's ever been one. We've got the poll up. If you guys haven't already taken the poll, it's up there. We're hovering around. Not a lot of live viewers, but hopefully you guys that are here, you've all taken the poll. But do the Hogs still have a chance to getting the tournament with a loss to A&M tomorrow? 53% of you say no. 47% of you say yes. Now, does it mean if you lose tomorrow that you're completely out of the running? Of course not. I mean, you still have opportunities at Kentucky, Mississippi State, who's not much, but that's a game at home, and you can't lose it. But that's a winnable game. At South Carolina is winnable. I think at Rupp is winnable. I think it is, even though, I mean, Kentucky, they are what they are, but they're still 14-7, 5-3 in conference play. That's an opportunity. I think that's on the table. No matter what happens against A&M, I think it's on the table. I think every one of these games is on the table outside of at Bama and at Tennessee. Tennessee defensively, watch them play. Oh, my God. I don't know where they rank defensive efficiency. It's got to be top 5 in the country, top 10. They are a fantastic defense. Bama's well-rounded on both ends of the floor. I don't know what happened at Oklahoma. I have no idea. Bama fans are blaming officiating, but when you lose by that margin, it's hard to buy. Didn't watch the game, but I read a little bit. Yeah, they're blaming officiating. Not real happy with some of the matchups. But I just don't – I think those are the only two games I look at and I go, I just don't like their odds. I'll be honest. Those two and at A&M. At A&M frightens me. Arkansas, I don't know what their history is since joining the SEC of Arkansas on the road at A&M. We know A&M struggled last year until the end, and they kind of got it figured out. This year it looks like they've got it figured out. But I think every game is on the table outside of maybe 2-3 games. You cannot lose at home tomorrow. If you lose at home at all, you can't lose any home game. You're in it to win it now. Like you screwed up so much at the end of December and in January. You screwed up so much. You've put so much pressure on the month of February. Now, I'm not putting it on Musselman because I'm sorry. Those injuries, I don't give a shit what anybody says. Those injuries are monumental. Just losing one of them was big. Just losing one of those guys was big. Losing Nick Smith was big. I guarantee you, even if Brazil was healthy, had he not had his injury, we'd be sitting here talking about, oh boy, what if Nick Smith were healthy? Here you are talking about two huge pieces of this team who's struggling on the offensive end to be consistent. We're missing those two huge pieces. So I'm not putting this year on Musselman, but it is a Mike Anderson type year if I've ever seen one, where he would screw around in December, And then January, you'd have a rough, bumpy year or bumpy month, and then all of a sudden you're walking into February like, shit, we can't lose but more than a couple of games. We damn sure can't lose any home games. When you're making that argument mid to late January, and you're still losing games like they did against Baylor on the road, like you did against Vanderbilt on the road, like you did at home against Alabama, a game Arkansas was in it until they weren't in the final 4.5 minutes. They didn't look so hot against Auburn on the road. They lost to I still don't know what the hell. I mean, really the first warning sign, the very first warning sign for Arkansas this year, for me, was at LSU. Because we all had a pretty good clue. I mean, I felt pretty comfortable in saying LSU is not going to be a very good team this year. They're 1-7 in conference play right now. They're 12-9. They're probably the worst team in the SEC besides maybe them and South Carolina. I think they're better than I think they're on level with Ole Miss. I mean, that's how bad they are. And Arkansas lost that game. And that was a game, from what I understand, again, I didn't get to watch it, didn't get to see it. It's the only game so far this year, I believe, that I've missed. No, wait, there was a game earlier this year I think I missed. Maybe 2 games. But from what I understand, the officials let them play. And Arkansas still found a way to lose that game on the road. That was the first red flag. Arkansas's going to struggle on the road. Then they lost to Auburn on the road. They lost to Vandy on the road. Then they lost to Mizzou. I get it. I agree with people when they say officiating cost you that game. That's the only time you're going to hear me say that. Because I'll always say, well, it was a hill for them to climb. Because that's always the case in this league. We get that. I think you can argue that Mizzou was the biggest hill. It wasn't Mizzou. It was the officiating, and Arkansas couldn't overcome it. Regardless, you didn't put yourself in a position to win that game. You just never could. Again, I agree that officiating prevented a lot of that. But they've been cheeks on the road. They've been horrible on the road. So that puts that much more pressure at home. That puts that much more pressure in the month of February. Does it mean that if you lose, you're completely out of it? No, not technically. Of course not, because you have opportunities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more opportunities if you lose tomorrow. But the problem is, this is a home game. You're expected to win it. Your rankings are not, your record against Quad 1 is atrocious. I think it's 1-5, I think. It's not good. Right now, Arkansas is 28th. 28th in the net rankings. Now, that's kind of your saving grace, right? Your home record is 11-1. You're 1-5 versus Quad 1, 2-1 versus Quad 2. You have a Quad 3 loss, 7-1 in Quad 3. You cannot have Quad 3 losses. One maybe. And that's exactly what they have. They're 7-1 and then they're 4-0 versus Quad 4. But 1-5 in Quad 1, not a great look. You have an opportunity this year. You're going to have some more Quad 1 matchups. But you just can't. You cannot. I'll say this. I think if Arkansas loses, I'll make an official statement. Unless we have a at Mizzou scenario where the officials are just ungodly horrible, right? And even then, I'll say that if they lose to A&M, I think that's it. I think they're done. I think a lot of you are already there. A lot of you are like, no, Ty, they ain't making it regardless. That's fine. And maybe that is the case. I don't know. I still have them on the bubble. I liked what we've seen these last four games. Even though you've got some losses in there, they're still going on the road to Baylor, undermanned, underpowered, with injuries, guys playing with injuries. Of course, a lot of people are at this point, but Arkansas's got a legitimate case. He had a player that we were told was not going to play at all, and then did. Both the Mitchell brothers played. Was not expected, but he played hurt. And then, of course, who else you're missing. You still found a way to only lose that game by 3 points. You were toe-to-toe. In fact, you had the lead for a little while, and it was back and forth. I liked what I saw in that game. They have fight. I wish this was a Wednesday game instead of Tuesday. They have a short turnaround. I know. I mean, it just is what it is. Thank God it's a 6 p.m. game for the audience, but it's a short turnaround. You're missing that. You'd love for this to be a Wednesday game. The weather could push it back. I don't know if they would postpone it a day or if they just push it to another week or what, or if they would just cancel the game altogether with the road being the way or the weather being the way that it is. But this is a big one, man. You just cannot drop this on the 31st. You just cannot drop this game. Arkansas, again, this is kind of similar when you look at their guards. Arkansas is going to have a little bit of length over A&M compared to their guards. That's going to be the case a lot of the times. I mean, it just is. They're going to have the length. Again, looking at the poll, 54% of you say no. And I think I'd pick no. I think I'd say no. I think if you lose tomorrow, that's it. Nick Smith Jr. been confirmed to be back for Aggie game? No, as far as I know, he hasn't. Unless something happened while we were live. Losing 2 players as significant as we did would collapse most teams in the NCAA. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of teams wouldn't even be in the conversation. I think that's fair. I really don't. I don't think they'd even be in the conversation right now. When you lose 2 guys like that, you're putting it all on these freshmen, too, that play like Black, Walsh. You're putting so much. You're asking Black to do that much more. But I would argue, yeah, I think if you lose tomorrow, that's it. And A&M's a good team. It's not to say that you couldn't turn around and maybe sneak out another big win somewhere. That's certainly in the cards. Listen, I think outside of A&M, I think Arkansas – well, no, listen, I'll tell you right now, I've got Arkansas winning this game. I have Arkansas winning this game. I think the Hogs win. It's going to be close. It's going to be a physical fight. A&M can play physical down low and around the iron. We're going to see how – let's hope and pray to God the officials don't play a big role. Let these guys play, and Arkansas should win. I think even if the officials kind of get in the way a little bit, Arkansas should win this game. I think they are still the better team. I like Muss. I like Muss more. I like his experience. I like that we have seen a slight turnaround. I think they're going to carry that into this game, and it is huge. Well, my allergies. Ooh. It's got to be the fan. It's got to be the fan or something. I don't know. Every time I sit down in here and do a live, my allergies just kick in. A&M offensively, scoring-wise, are the 4th best team in the conference, just ahead of Arkansas. They're really good at getting to the free throw line. Wade Taylor, Tyrese Radford, Henry Coleman, who's their forward, but their guards, Taylor, who's 6 foot, 185 pounds. Tyrese Radford, 6'2", 195. In fact, another site I looked up had him at 6'1", 190 pounds. He's 6'2", 195 according to ESPN. Julius Marble, who's their junior guard or forward, he's 6'9", 245. Dexter Dennis is a senior guard for them. He is 6'5". You got a little bit of length there. He's averaging about 8 points, 6 rebounds. I believe all these cats are healthy. Arkansas is going to have their hands full. A&M is they're a good team this year. They've caught on. They're not they're not worried about, they're not in the same situation that they were in a year ago where you really thought they were out of this thing. A&M is very well coached. There's no doubt about how well they're coached. I mean, they played Vanderbilt. They beat them 72-66. They went on the road and they beat Auburn. They beat Auburn on the road 79-63. They did lose that on the road to Kentucky. I thought they were kind of a paper tiger, but boy, once they hit conference play, they've kind of turned it around. A&M is playing really good basketball. They lost to Kentucky, but they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games going into that one. They barely beat Florida 54-52. They did lose at Memphis. They lost to Wofford. I think that was at home. And they lost to Boise State, Colorado, and Murray State. Those are their other losses. They do have a couple head-scratching losses, but and their net rankings, I think they're barely in the top 50. Oh, no, they're 42nd. Okay, they moved up. They're 42nd. They're 2-3 versus quad 1, 2-1 versus quad 2, 3-1 versus quad 3, and they're 8-1 versus quad 4. 72-66 over Vanderbilt. And for A&M, I mean, they had 3 of their starting 5 in double digits. Coleman had 18. Taylor had 14. Radford had 14. Taylor had a pretty big game for them. He had 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 6 defensive rebounds, 1 offensive rebound with 14 points. He turned the ball over just 3 times. They turned the ball over against Vandy just 9 times. I mean, that's the kind of game you want to build off of for A&M, but they've been building off games all year. They're playing really good basketball. I like Buzz Williams, good coach. I do too. I would not have complained had Arkansas signed Buzz Williams. Don't get me wrong. I think Arkansas got the better hire, but A&M is okay, not real good. I think they're good. I wouldn't debate. I'm not going to debate. They're a good team. I think they're a real good team. I think they are I'm not saying they're going to make a deep run in the tournament, but I listen, man, they're 7-1 in conference play. They beat some pretty good teams this year. They beat Missouri. They beat the hell out of Missouri, 82-64. They lost close at Rupp, right? They beat Auburn, a top 20 Auburn, top 15 Auburn team, 79-63. Yeah, I think they're a pretty good team, man. I'd have to say 7-1, 15-6. Again, they do have some head scratching losses, but I don't know very many teams that don't. Alabama got the shit kicked out of them to Oklahoma. I mean, you're going to have some losses every year. Arkansas last year had a couple that were just head scratchers, including one of them to Oklahoma at Tulsa, inside Tulsa. So, yeah, I would argue Alabama, Tennessee, and A&M, top 3 teams in this league. I think Auburn is kind of floating around still. And then it's kind of everybody else at that point. Really, it's Alabama and everybody else, but if you're just talking about like the top half of the league, I think A&M belongs in that conversation for sure. And Tennessee, you've got to close out against some tough opponents. God, you hate the way that February lines up at the end there. I don't even like Kentucky and Fayetteville. I mean, Kentucky, even years where you don't think they're as good as Arkansas, they still find ways to beat Arkansas. Most of the time, they're better than Arkansas, but lately under Muss, that's not been the case. We'll see. You got Kentucky twice. Nothing's guaranteed, not even on the road against South Carolina. We'll see if Ricky Council can't keep it going against A&M tomorrow night as well. But tomorrow you're in it to win it. That's all there is to it. You're in it to win it. You lose tomorrow, I don't think Arkansas has a shot. Well, I shouldn't say they don't have a shot, but I think I would fully take them out. Right now, I still think they're a bubble team. I think they're in the mix. They're in the conversation, which is saying a lot. Now, we still have Nick Smith, but like I said, don't know when he's coming back for sure. If I had to guess, maybe A&M, which would be the 15th. Which would be the 15th of February. That's my guess at the moment. Might have to wait till maybe at home against Florida on the 18th. But at that point, it's almost like why? Unless you've won some games and you're still in it. But if you lose, I should start off by saying if you lose to A&M, if you find a way to lose against Kentucky or whatever, and you start to really hit, you don't really come out of the woes that you've had, especially on the road. Let's say you do drop to South Carolina, Kentucky. I wouldn't complain at all for Nick Smith to say, you know what? I don't know that me coming back does anything at that point. If I'm Nick Smith, because you're definitely out of it. If you lose to A&M, you lose to Carolina on the road, you lose to Kentucky on the road, yeah, you're out of it. You're not making the tournament. You'd have to go on one hell of a run, and that looks really hard against Bama and Tennessee on the road. And A&M on the road, by the way, on the 15th. But it might be too little, too late, regardless when you get Nick Smith back. But it starts tomorrow. It really does. It starts tomorrow if you can find a way. Get that win against a bad South Carolina team on the road. Take care of business these next 2 games, and then we'll see where they're at getting ready to take on Kentucky on the 7th of February. So. Oh, my God. Shut up, fan. Kentucky isn't ranked. I think might have been ranked. Florida isn't ranked. Oh man. Auburn was ranked, my man. Auburn is a good basketball team. I don't know if you want to die on that hill that A&M's not a good team, then you could die on that hill. I'm not going to argue with you. This is annoying since there are all-star players that will probably miss the damn tournament. So you're talking about are you talking about Nick Smith? Who are you talking about, Blue? Problem is, if we fail to make the tournament, then the NIT will be a failure of a season for all the talent that we had. Yeah, again, you cannot overlook the injuries they've had to deal with. You cannot overlook that, man. I mean, like Mike said earlier in chat, losing guys who they've lost, that would decimate most other teams. I mean, of course, you'd have to look at the rest of their roster. You'd have to compare the rest of their roster. But I don't know too many teams that recover after losing guys like Trevon Brazile and Nick Smith Jr. Yeah, it sucks, and it's going to go down as one of the biggest what-if seasons ever, certainly. But, it just kind of is what it is. And Musselman said it a while back, and I think a lot of people they didn't really take him serious. But this is not automatic. The turnaround is not automatic because of the injuries that they've had to deal with. It just is what it is. You hate it for Musselman, you hate it for the players, you hate it for the staff, you hate it for the fans. It's going to go down as the biggest what-if season. I mean, it's going to go down as one of the biggest what-if seasons ever. Had Nick Smith and Trevon Brazile stayed healthy. You got to hope that Nick Smith can come back sooner than later. Again, he's not going to be the answer to all your prayers, as I've been saying for weeks. There's a lot of things they've got to overcome. Nick Smith doesn't answer all those. I do like Arkansas over A&M. I do like Arkansas over a good A&M basketball team. I do. I like Arkansas. I think it's going to be close. Probably going to be like a 68-64 kind of game, but I think Arkansas finds a way to win. I just feel like they're right on the cusp of getting this thing turned around, even without some of the pieces, even with the injuries. I think they're right on the cusp of starting to figure this thing out. Now, even if they do figure it out, it doesn't mean they're going to go on some win streak. It doesn't mean that they're going to be able to overcome all the adversity that they end up facing. But it at least gives you an opportunity and a chance if they can finally get a better product on the floor than what we've seen. And again, I've liked what I've seen these last 3 or 4 games. I really have. Missouri on the road has been tough. I mean, Missouri, they're damn good at home, and Arkansas should have won that game. And you could say the exact same thing about Baylor. Baylor, for different reasons. You didn't have to overcome the awful officiating like you did compared to Missouri. But, yeah. We are a very talented team for sure. But if we didn't get Nick Smith, we wouldn't have been near as hyped going into the season. Still not making the tournament would have been a failure. The refs suck, though, Ty. They ruin everything. They certainly seem like they do. Yeah, you keep copy and pasting that, and I'm just going to time you out, man. You can copy and paste that all you want. Woo Pig Suey, AT Texas 50, whatever. You can copy and paste that all you want. If you don't think they're a good basketball team, then go talk to Eric Musselman. I think you're wrong. I think they are a good basketball team. I mean, they've got a couple of wins that Arkansas got. I mean, they took care of business against some of these opponents that Arkansas couldn't. You say they haven't played Arkansas. Well, they're about to play them in Fayetteville, but I still think Arkansas wins that game, and then they get to play Arkansas at home later on in the year. But don't copy and paste stuff. I mean, you're borderline spamming. Yeah, I agree about Arkansas being very talented. Even without Nick Smith, they are still a very talented team. They're going to be more talented than a lot of teams, even with those two guys gone. But it's just been so much to overcome because Musselman, built this team around, especially on the offensive end of the floor, around Nick Smith and Trevon Brazile. And it feels like the head of the snake got cut off before it could really take off and do its thing. And that's unfortunate. And again, I'll say it again, this could go down as the biggest what-if season ever. I think at this point, even if they just find a way to make the tournament, no matter the seeding, that's a huge win for this team. At that point, I have no idea how far they would go. It's going to be matchup. It's going to be based on just matchups, which is always the case in March Madness. That's always the case. So, yeah. All right. Anyways, I think wasn't Nick still hurt before the season started, even during the European games? He got hurt. He got hurt in Europe, did he not? I know he got a little banged up. Yeah, he got hurt before, and then he got hurt again. Did he not in Europe? Didn't they say he got hurt on the beach or something? I remember that. I don't know. What I do know is they haven't had him for as much as they obviously would like to have him available. It's just not been the case. I mean, regardless of when he got hurt, you haven't had him at all in conference play, and it's been a big blow. I would say there've been a couple of matchups where you'd prefer to have Trevon Brazile if you had to pick between the two, just simply because of what he can do. What he could do around the iron, what he could do down low in the paint. That was something. There have been a couple of matchups this year where you just you wonder what the outcome would have been had Trevon Brazile been available. I mean, how often did we see Brazile come off the bench, end up with 7-8 rebounds or 6-7-8 rebounds, 20 points. He was such a vital piece to this team. And, at times he struggled. He got boxed out around the rim from time to time. He's not exactly a big, muscular big down low, but he's wiry, good long reach. His ability, especially on the offensive end of the floor around the rim, you're missing Trevon Brazile without a doubt. And defensively, too. Again, he alters shots with his length. I'd rather have both. Well, of course you'd rather have both of them, Paul. That's not up for debate. Brazile could block. Arkansas is still a pretty good blocking team. I think they're still hovering around the top 30, top 40 in blocks. There is no East. God. You're coming off like a boomer. You're coming off like a boomer, man. You are dying on that hill. Again, A&M, I got Arkansas over A&M tomorrow. I think they're a good team. Hogs by 10 at Aggie World. We'll see. Maybe. Arkansas, I don't ever doubt out Musselman. Again, they still have available talent. And hopefully by the time they go on the road, they'll have Nick Smith, hopefully. That'll be, again, right smack dab in the middle of February. Is it at home? Is what at home? Tomorrow is at home, yes. 6 p.m. tip-off, ESPN2, according to ESPN. South Carolina, which will be Saturday. Right? Am I looking at that right? Yeah, that's Saturday. Of course it is. Of course it's Saturday. I don't know why, I guess. That's SEC Network, 2:30 tip-off. At Kentucky on the 7th, and that's 8 p.m. tip-off. It's in Fayetteville. Hogs by 15. Taco Bell sounds great for lunch. Yeah. Are you serious? Oh, my God, dude. Have you watched Tennessee play this year? What are you talking about? And there is no SEC East. It's just SEC in basketball. Yeah, you're coming off like a boomer, my friend. Yeah, they haven't played Tennessee yet, but if you're asking who's good out of the East, I'd say Auburn and Tennessee are both good out of the East. Or not Auburn, sorry. Tennessee, Florida, not as good. If you're talking about OG, SEC West, SEC East, but that's not a thing. There is no SEC East or SEC West. Vanderbilt, offensively, really good out of the East, but unfortunately, they're just not a very well-built team. Kentucky is, I don't know. Jury is out on Kentucky. They're kind of, you just don't know what to get out of Kentucky. You really don't. And you can say the same thing about Florida. You know, you've got a couple teams. Georgia is better this year than I thought they would be, but they're still only 14-7. They're 500 in conference play. Florida's 5-3 in conference play. Kentucky's 5-3, but no, Tennessee out of the OG East. If you want to talk about OG, then yeah, Tennessee out of the SEC East is, I mean, they're top two. I'm getting some screenshots of the road. Boy, that looks dangerous. Y'all stay clear, man. The roads look horrible. I-49 looks like going into Lowell, I think. That looks rough. Avoid the roads, please. It's dangerous. Which of these guys could potentially be back next year? Well, I think all of them except Nick Smith and Anthony Black. Still a conversation to be had about Trevon Brazile. There's some people who've believed that he could hit the portal. I think Brazile. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. That's just that's too far down the road. I don't know. I would expect Trevon Brazile to be back. I don't know why he would transfer. I don't see him. I mean, he's dropped out of most conversations as far as a guy getting drafted in the first round. He's dropped. He got himself up there, right? Trevon Brazile was absolutely in the conversation. I think he comes back. I don't know. With basketball, man, I mean, you just don't know. We have no idea what this team's identity will look like next year. We don't know what the depth, the roster. You just don't know. But, I mean, Black and Nick Smith are for sure gone. Absolutely. Honestly, the SEC's kind of down. Yeah, the SEC's not as good as it was last year. And I would argue that the SEC, I mean, if you look at the SEC Big 12 matchup, I don't know what that actually finished out at, but they had something like a 9-game lead over Arkansas or over the SEC. And that was coming into this year. And you had some bizarre losses, you know. But then you had some good wins. I mean, Mizzou picked up a really good win. What looked bad? Oh, you're talking about the roads? Yeah, they look bad. There was a 4-car wreck this morning. I saw where coming out of, was it Ozark? Coming out of somewhere, I saw the semi-truck had jackknifed. Northeast Arkansas is supposed to get isolated. Yeah, y'all be careful, Michael. Northeast Arkansas could be wild. I saw that. The radar does not look good. Yeah, the roads look bad. I've had 2 pictures sent to me this morning. They look really rough. So, all right, that is going to do it. We had a good little conversation. I'm gonna have to put Woo Pig Suey Texas 50 in that boomer category. I don't know why you're dying on that hill, man. That's a bizarre hill to die on. And why are you mentioning SEC East opponents anyways? A&M was in the West back when that was a thing in basketball. It's not a thing. What does that matter? I mean, you could say the same thing about, you know, a lot of teams in this league. The SEC is taking a step backwards. I don't think it's a very good basketball conference this year. Most years, I don't think it is. It has been bizarre. I definitely thought, obviously, we all thought Arkansas would be better. You know, I kind of thought Missouri would fall off the face of the earth. A&M is playing better than I thought they would. But overall, though, the conference has not ever really been strong. It's not, or I shouldn't say ever, but it seems like more times than not, the SEC is just a bottom three in the Power Five. They're in the bottom three. I remember a tall running back named Eric Dickerson. He seemed to do okay. I don't know. What was his height? How big was he? Darren McFadden was, Arkansas had him listed at 6'2". You remember that? They had him listed like 6'2", 215. How many teams will make the tournament out of the SEC? Boy, that's a good question. At the moment, man, I have a hard time seeing more than 5. I don't know. Looking at the looking at the net rankings, which is not, it's not a given, but Tennessee's first in the SEC in net rankings. They're second overall. Alabama. Oh my gosh, where is the next? Arkansas's at 28th. That's a third. And do we know that? I don't know. They're just ahead of Auburn, so that'd be 4. A&M's at 5th in the SEC, and that's at 42nd overall. I don't know, man. Missouri's still in the mix. We might see they might stretch it to 6 teams. I don't know, but I have a hard time seeing more. I really think that they end up sending maybe 5 or 6. It's not going to be a great year. They're not going to send a lot, but that'd be good. 6 would be good. You'd be all right with that. No more than 5, says Paul. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It just depends on what people on what the narrative of SEC basketball is come March, right? Coming out of the SEC tournament. I'm not going to lie, basketball's kind of went back to the level it usually is. What do you mean? You talking about Arkansas or the SEC? All right. Well, anyways, that's going to do it. I do appreciate you guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Even if you have crazy kind of off-the-wall takes and you're willing to die on that hill, we'll just have to agree to disagree on the A&M conversation. But I do, again, I like Arkansas. I don't. The recipe for success is I'd love to see them. I'd like to see them in the 6 to 7 3-pointers. They're going to have to get some hard fought points down in the paint, get to the free throw line. A&M is very good. A&M is very good at getting to the free throw line. Now, they are, when you look at their numbers, there's nothing they really excel at a really high level, but they are a pretty good scoring offense. Again, they're 4th in the SEC. You're not facing an Alabama or Mizzou on the offensive end of the floor, but they can be really productive. And they're a 75% team at the free throw line. They're really good getting there. They're really good. So you're gonna have to keep an eye on foul trouble. Again, their net rankings is right around the top, somewhere they're hovering around the 40s. They're 2-3 versus quad 1 opponents. This would be a big win for them if they could come into Bud Walton and beat Arkansas. I don't see it. I think Arkansas wins this game. I like Arkansas. I don't know by how much. I'd say Arkansas probably by. I'd like them 8 or 9. Maybe they can get it into double digits. I like the matchup here for Arkansas. Again, it's somewhat similar to Baylor when you talk about like their guards. Their guards are not real lengthy. They're not real long. They're going to have some matchup issues. They don't have a 17, 18-point average guy, right? They don't have that. They've got Wade Taylor, who's at about 15 points a game, which is still pretty good. You're not going to overlook that. They don't have elite rebounding, right? They're kind of right there. I think they're right around where Arkansas is in terms of just overall rebounding, not talking about offensive or defensive, but overall rebounding. This should be a game you win on the boards, and this is a game where you're going to win. I feel like Arkansas is going to need to win this thing at the free throw line. Cannot afford another sub 70% sub 70% free throw shooting at home. Can't do it. You need to be around 75, 74, 75%. And that's asking a lot of this team. But that's where I think they need to be at. And, again, I'd love to see them drain. Look, I thought Pinion was going to get more opportunities against Baylor. Maybe this is the game where he comes in and he gets more time. I would love for someone to get hot, man. I'd love for someone to get hot outside. You would always like to see that, but especially against these teams who are going to try and trap you down low, try and cause issues with some interior zone defense, right? You need to spread them out on the floor a little bit. And I think Arkansas, if they can get a little hot outside, it doesn't have to be Pinion. It could be Devo again. Maybe Devo's got to be the guy. Maybe Ricky Council keeps it going. But they're gonna need to drain some outsiders. I'd love to see a couple corner pocket three balls from old Pinion. Maybe he does that. Maybe Arkansas finds a way to blow the doors off the hinges tomorrow. Maybe they can win big. That won't change my opinion of A&M, but maybe they can win big because it just feels like, again, they're so close to turning the corner. And, boy, I could see it all coming together tomorrow night. But they're going to have to play at a pretty high caliber. They're capable of doing it. Arkansas is capable of beating the hell out of quality teams. I think A&M is a quality opponent, and I think Arkansas is capable at home in Bud Walton of beating the hell out of someone like A&M. Do they actually do it? I don't know. Got to learn how to finish. That's exactly right. They have not figured out how to finish, especially on the road more times. When it's close, when it's single digits down to the final several possessions, they have not shown that they can win a ball game yet. They just haven't shown it on the road. But this is at home, so no excuses in terms of, no excuses in terms of we don't want to talk about officiating tomorrow night, but that's kind of outside of your control to some extent. So, anyways, I will be live, assuming we have a game tomorrow night. I will be live, and hopefully we're talking about Arkansas beating the hell out of the A&M Aggies inside Bud Walton Arena tomorrow night. Okay, 6 p.m. I'll see you guys in the post game. Woo Pig Suey. Shout out to Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys tomorrow.